Good evening, Brock Nation. Bobby Gordon, Jaden Winfrey of Brock Sports Network with you tonight. And we're honored to be joined by Coach Billy Mathis. Coach, thanks for joining us tonight.
Heck yeah, I wouldn't, no place I'd rather be on a Friday night than here at the Brock Eagle Stadium.
Yep. And we didn't get to talk to you after last season, but first things first, a few congratulatory items. First year in 4A, all the way to a state semifinal appearance, and along the way you picked up your 50th win as a Brock Eagles head coach. That was quick.
That, man? That was when you got good players, right? The wins come. So it's funny. I don't do a very good job of seeing milestones very often. Not that I wouldn't for me for sure, but for other people too, like anniversaries and stuff like that. I'm not very good at, but I try. So when they said it was our 50th win and the game that it was the 50th win on, the game against Graham, gosh, it couldn't have been any better. So fired up, so thankful to have the team and the coaches around me to have that opportunity to have 50 wins under our belt.
We week in and week out, the biggest question that we get is how does Brock each year graduate, reload, and you're either in a state semifinal or you're at AT&T every year. Well, Coach, if you look around tonight, I think step one is community involvement.
Oh, community involvement is number one, because just like what you guys did when your boys were little, you brought them out here. This on any night of the week, this place is full of youth football players and their dads out here, and they're not out here. It is the most organized group of men, but it's the winning tradition. It's we're Brock, we're going to win, and people are like, oh, it's arrogance. Well, you'd rather have that bit of arrogance. You'd rather have that bit of confidence, as I like to call it, and then, well, I don't know if we're going to win or not. We had a new teacher, a new English teacher, come in this year, and she's across from my class. And we were just talking. I said, well, how's it been? She goes, it's been so amazing. She goes, I asked the boys, tell me about Brock. And she goes, and the first thing they all say is, we win. It's exciting. And you want them to have that confidence, and you want them to have that expectations, because I'd rather have a championship expectations than not. And people all the time say, well, it's this or that. Well, let me tell you, anybody in the world would rather have that than the opposite.
Yeah. Absolutely. You brought in some new faces this year on the coaching staff, and you didn't just bring in coaches, you brought in some dudes. We've got a chance to get to know these guys, and they are phenomenal coaches, I'm sure, but just phenomenal guys that are leaders of men.
They are, man. We got a lot of good guys. Clint Resta came in, coaching our cornerbacks for us on the varsity. Coach McKitty, he came from Electra. As a head coach, came down here. He's helping he's coaching O-line with us. Sam McCarty came from Lovejoy's, coaching defensive ends, and the legend himself, Lee Bishop, right? I mean, how great. And I love all our coaches, all great. When you got a guy like Lee Bishop who's been doing it for 39, 40 years, right? And you look at him and you think, there ain't no way that dude's been coaching that long, because he looks too young and he's too freaking jacked up. But let me tell you, man, that dude gets up here. He's working out in the morning. He's doing laundry. He's doing his Bible study. He's doing film study. I don't know he has so much energy. I'm like, gosh almighty, man, when I get to be that old, I hope I have everything he has. But, man, all the coaches that we got, phenomenal men, phenomenal coaches, and they help make my life easier. And that's what you want to look for as a head coach. Coach Buchanan told me the same thing. Coach Wood told me the same thing. You got to hire great coaches. If you want to go win, you got to hire great coaches. Secondly, you can't do everything yourself, so don't try. When you hire these coaches, you hire them, you trust them to do a job. And your job as a head coach is to oversee everything and make sure it's go, but you got to have good guys underneath you that make it happen. And I've been blessed with, Blake and Lucky and Mully, and those guys have been with me for a long time. 8, 9, 10 years now, some of them. Blake's been with me since 2013. So, and then have a guy like Coach Brewster on staff, and Paige and Bennett. The way they all just work together so good. And we get in that coach's office, man, and there's times we get in there and we argue and gripe and do all that, but nobody gets their feelings hurt, right? They know it's a bunch of men getting in there having fun. It's the same way that these boys are out there. These boys want every rep, and they want to tear each other's heads off. And it's the same way with us as coaches. We want to go in there, well, I want this guy all the time, or I want this guy all the time, or hey, let's run this, well, I don't like this, or let's run this, I don't like it. So But when it's all said and done at the end of the night on Sunday when we finish up, man, everybody's happy. The game plan's ready. And then Monday morning at 6 o'clock when we roll the junior high out, we're ready to roll. So we're very blessed and very lucky to have the coaching staff we have, and to have, the administration we have, and to have somebody like Coach Mathis, who, athletic director, he takes care of so much stuff for us. And just to have his support all the time. And our new soup, Dr. Louise, she's been amazing. Troy Roberts and Lance, and Andy's up here now as one of our administrators. And then you got Eric, Mr. Sams we got just a great group. JW Shaw down there at the middle school. We have an amazing group of people that we work with all the time. And the administrator, of course, our elementary and intermediate principals now, they get irritated with me a lot because I like to go down to those schools and be loud and get kids riled up. And they're like, if you're going to come down here, warn us and quit blowing our classes up. I blow them up and I run. So.
Well, you've reloaded this year. So each team has its own identity. New senior class, new underclassmen. What early on is the identity of this football team?
Man, physicality. This group is as physical a group that I've been around. And to be physical, though, you've got to be confident. And you got to know what you're doing, because if you're not confident and 100% sure in what you do, you can't just let loose and just go out there and fly around and try to be the most physical team out there. This group, not only are they one of the most dialed-in groups, I mean, I'm kicking them out of the weight room. Y'all get out of here. Y'all go do something else. When I'm not up here, those dudes are up here somewhere. And it doesn't matter if it's Monday through Sunday. They're somewhere around this football field or this field house. They're calling me. Their dads are calling me. Hey, Coach, you going up to the field house? Well, Saturday morning at 7 o'clock. I'm trying to sleep. We want to go up there and get an extra lift in. And it's just, you love it. You love that type of buy-in. And I'll say this, each and every year the teams are always great teammates with each other. They all, it's special about Brock. Special, and the guys pull for each other, and there's no letdown this year. We've got a great group of seniors. There's 20 of them right now. My son Slade, his senior year. It makes it even that much more special. Sure. But when you talk about reloading, we've reloaded. And I'm not trying to be arrogant or anything like that, but my God, we got a good football team. And that comes from the 7th grade up because of what we talked about earlier. The involvement, the preparedness that these kids have, the parents allowing us to coach them the way we want to coach them. I don't have parents emailing me going, Coach, man, you're too tough on them, or you're too hard, or you're demanding too much out of them. If it's anything, it's more. Give them more. Be tough on them. Get after their butts, Heck, I don't have to. I don't, man. These kids show up and ask them to do something, they do it. Coach Christensen asks them to do something, they do it. Coach Moley asks them to do something, they do it. It's I know it, I say it all the time, but it's special, and it's the best coaching job in the state of Texas, if not in the whole United States. And I'm so proud, so lucky, so blessed to be the head coach here.
So getting into the weeds a little bit we got some new faces. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we got a replacement at quarterback. We got some new stuff there. Just talk about some of the new faces that are replacing some of the seniors we lost last year that people can look forward to seeing this year.
Really we're replacing a lot there on the O-line. Tobin moved to center, and last time Tobin played center was in the quarterfinal game against Graham after Walker got hurt. Tobin goes in. He had been taking backup snaps, and you don't talk about a dude who's having to come in that type of pressure and come in, perform. We're down on like the 2-yard line at that time. Yep. Rain's coming down crazy. He steps right in and we don't miss a beat. And he's picked up right where he's left off. And I've been just so proud of his leadership, because y'all know Tobin. He's always just fly by the seat of his pants, And man, he is as locked in as I've ever seen him. And that goes to the O-line, Coach McKitty and Coach Bish down there, getting them locked in. And you got Jack Dayball and Cash Britton there, who were big time players for us. They got a lot of reps. They were juniors that played on the JV Blue for most of the year last year, and that's what I love, because we had a great offensive line. I couldn't have those guys sitting on the sideline and not getting reps. And I said, hey, listen, y'all gonna play on the JV? Yes, sir. And you're gonna play And look what it did for them. Now they moved right in. They're starting right now. You know, of course you got Waylon. You know, Waylon played on the varsity last year as a sophomore, and Waylon's gotten nothing but bigger, faster, and stronger. And man, he's going to be. He's a lot of the guy that we fight over in the offense. But I tell them, hey, y'all can train somebody else on the O-line. Let me just have it on defense all the time. And Blake and Bish are like, you're stupid. That's not happening. So, but you know, we have them there, and then Logan Walford and all the other guys who are there on the O-line who had played before but had been in the backup role. Man, they jumped in there and they have just taken off, and they've done amazing. You know, and you got Colt over there who's leading the way. You know, and of course you got B-Ray back, and boy, you want to talk about electric. You know, everybody talks about Colt Matlock. Everybody knows Colt Matlock's the baddest dude on the field. I mean, it's hands down wherever we're going. They're going to double him, triple him, whatever. You can't double, triple him and leave Braden uncovered. You can't leave Davis Lee, new kid, uncovered. You can't leave Charles uncovered. You can't leave the Leach brothers uncovered. You can't leave dudes uncovered because these other guys, man, they're right there right behind him, and they're right there on top of it, and they compete with each other every day. So, hey, it's been exciting. It's been good, you know, and I know there's a lot of guys out there on offense, and we will roll dudes in and out. And with the new technology we have on offense, right, we're able to send everything in, you know, so it looks like they're wearing eye watches.
Okay.
So you see them out there in the scrimmage tonight, you know, everybody's doing this. I guarantee somebody was up there like, look at all those boys checking their watches, you know?
Girlfriend's texting.
Yeah. You know, they're checking their watches, and it comes up the play, the formation, the play, all the stuff. That helps us be able to go fast. You want to talk about being able to send plays in? Cool. Yeah. We're able to send plays in fast. I mean,
and what it does to your practices as well.
It's amazing. We get so many more reps, so many guys. And, you know, we're at a stage right now, you know, you can't go full speed, take dudes to the ground. So that's the hardest part for us is holding guys back, you know, of getting them where they need to be. So, you know, we got a lot of new faces. We got a lot of guys reloading, you know, that defense coming together. You know, we got to replace a couple cornerbacks over there. Gosh dang, we got 8. I coach linebackers. I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I got 8 dudes over there on the linebacker core where I can roll them in and roll them out, and, you know, we ain't going to miss a beat. You know, Jack will play some offense, and I can get Logan in, I get Braxton in. You know, Waller plays some tight end too. Get him in over there. You know, Dax Hayes plays offense. So, you know, we're rolling Graham and all these guys in, and we don't miss a beat. And that's the best thing about these guys. I work them at the mic backer, I work them at the Sam, I work them at the wheel because I want them to know what everybody's doing. So if they got to go in a pinch, they know what they're doing. And they know what the guy next to them doing, so they can get guys lined up. And our guys love that stuff. They feed off of that stuff. When we go in and watch a video, there's nobody. They're taking notes. They're writing stuff down. They're calling me at night, sending me, "Hey, coach, you see play 38?" Or, you know, it's special. And, you know, go up to the D line up front, and man, we got a lot of. We don't have big boys. Waylon's the biggest, but, you know, getting Caleb and Slade back down there. And, you know, having Aguilar back, having all the guys that we need. RJ and Brett Cannon come in, new guys that are coming in who are going to be big-time players for us. It's going to be freaking awesome, man. And I could go on and on about them. I know people probably get tired of listening to me talk, but, man, I've just been so proud of them, the way they're working. And, you know, it's a selfless group. They pull for each other. They play hard for each other. They love each other. And they want to go win. And it's everything in them. You know, losing those games in the state championship, losing those semifinals, you reflect and you look back on them and you think, there's 1,000 coaches that would kill to have this season we had. And we're so proud, we're so thankful, we're so lucky. And sometimes we really don't take it in how great of a season it was, because unless you win that last one, you almost feel like it's not a failure of a season. It's an amazing season. Right. You go win 14, 15 games. It's an amazing season. Absolutely. And you got to tell yourself that. You got to tell the boys that. Tell them how proud you are of them. But at the same time, it burns so deep in your soul when you're laying there at night and you wake up at 2:38. You're like, oh, God, if we'd have done this, or if this wouldn't have happened. And then you can't go back to sleep. You know, so, but there's a million dudes that would trade spots with me right now. And tough crap, I ain't trading spots with any of them. I don't care. Right? Even if Jerry Jones called. I said, ain't happening, sir. I'm happy where I'm at, so.
Your slogan this year is "Be the Light."
Be the light.
Explain how you come up with that this year.
So, we always put a lot of thought into it, about the boys, about everything, kind of who they are. And, on the Christian side of me, which I try to be the best example I can for the boys. And sometimes I have to give them, hey, listen, I'm an idiot. But, we talk about you, and you want to talk about power, right? How powerful that is, whether it's from the sun, whether it's from a lighthouse, whether it's from a pin drop of light going down into a cave. To the power out there on the football field. We got to be powerful. We got to be strong. The power out in the community. Who we are as people. The effect that we have on people. The power of the tongue. That's what I tell the boys all the time. We always talk about planting seeds and reaping great harvest. That's something I've talked about my entire career. And it's something that we talk about all the time. And it's about, if we're going to do this, if we're going to be the light, we got to do it all the time. If we're going to be somebody's light, because it's a dark world out here and it's crazy. And there's a lot of people who cannot handle other people's success. If one person's winning and the other person's winning, most of the time they hate it. They don't like other people's success. We try not to have that mindset. We try to be a light for everybody. We want people to look at our football team and say, not only are they amazing, strong, powerful football players, but these guys go out and they pour greatness. They pour the light into the community, into the kids, into each other, into the school building, just to be those great Christian young men that you always want them to be, because you get 4 years to do high school football, and then it's all said and done. And the way the world works now, there's a lot of things out there in this world, from social media and who you are and what you are, that can affect your future. But if you're out there and you're doing right and you're trying to be the light for people, hey man, all it's going to do is give you an edge on everybody else. It's going to make your life easier. It's kind of like eating good. When you eat healthy and you drink good, you feel so good. When you eat crap and you drink crap, you feel terrible. So when you're out there living your life the right way, it's just the way God works, man. He pours into us. He blesses us. He wants us to have a successful life. You got to go out there and believe it. You got to go speak it. People talk about manifesting stuff all the time. I don't know if you really manifest stuff, but I do believe that you have good energy and you have great energy, good things are going to happen, because you've seen those negative people before. They're terrible. And there's a reason why crap bad happens to them all the time, because it's like they draw it to them. Let's not talk about the negative stuff. Let's not talk about the bad things. Let's talk about the greatness. Let's talk about the greatness of God. Let's talk about being the light. Let's talk about all the stuff that makes this world great, and let's be it. Let's be the leaders out there in it. So I love it, and I prayed about it a lot, and man, it just stuck in my brain, and it just kept coming up from songs, from things that I would see over and over and over again. And I talked to the boys. I said, all right, boys, what about Be the Light? And everyone on Miss Entertainment,
Absolutely.
I mean, they were like, that's awesome. So we were good.
Well, it's a special team. It's a special coaching staff. It's going to be a special year. We appreciate you giving us the time tonight, and we look forward to seeing you guys out there on the field.
It is. It's special men right here. Yeah. And I mean that. You guys, y'all do so much for me outside of this, but all I hear is how great you guys are, and they love listening to y'all. They love hearing from you guys, and the time and effort that you guys put in outside of your job. And to do the things y'all do, I do appreciate it. We really do. And I appreciate you guys. And appreciate Gus and all the other guys behind the scenes that don't get seen very often. But, man, I love this thing. I love you guys, and I love these boys. And, gosh, first game.
It's going to be a special year.
It is. Thank y'all.
Right. That is the head coach.